Hi, and welcome to today's violin lesson. So today we're going to be looking at Ferrajaka. This is in the Essential Elements Violin Book 1. Um, so let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. Now, before we look at this one's a little bit different than some of the other ones that we've looked at. This one has what we call a round. Now, basically, what that means is that one person is going to play first, and then once that person gets to a particular point in the music, then the next person comes in. So you have these two parts going on simultaneously. Now, what's going to happen is since they started at different points, that also means that they're going to end at a different point. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. So, Ferrajaka, first of all, I'm going to play it just so that way you all can hear it and understand what it sounds like. And then we'll start to go a little bit more in depth with it, okay? So here is how it goes. All right, so here we go. I'm going to take it at about, we'll say at about a tempo of 50 for now. So just kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here we go. So number 88, Ferrajaka, 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and ready, go. Okay, so that is basically how this one is going to sound. So let's go ahead and let's break it down a little bit. Now, for this one, since we have a bunch of different kinds of parts going on here, we've got some eighth notes in the mix as well. So what I would usually advise most students with this one is to probably break it down into, we could go one of two ways. We could either do measure by measure, or we can do phrase by phrase. Or if you even want to break it down further, for whatever reason, let's just say that you're having trouble with it, note by note, that's always a good one. That's always a very, very big practice strategy that I recommend because it does go a long way. It really does help out a lot. Okay? For this one, how about we'll try doing phrase by phrase, okay? Now, that entire first line, we can go about it several ways. If I wanted to say maybe the first 1, 2, 3, 4 measures are one phrase, we can do that. So let's say if I wanted to do maybe... then that's basically one phrase right there, right? Now, let's say if I wanted to break it down even further, maybe instead of one phrase, maybe I want to make it two phrases. I can go ahead and do that as well. So maybe that first phrase could just be, and then there's one phrase right there, and then we can do the next one. And then there's the next phrase. Now, however you want to do it, either or is fine. Just go with a strategy that works best for you. It's going to be different for everybody. So don't stress out too much about which way to approach it. If there's a way that works best for you that maybe requires you to dissect it a little bit more, then go ahead and do that. Okay? All right, so Let's try the next four measures where you have those half notes with the A. So so we're gonna try that. So here we go. Ready and. Okay, so we're going to make that one phrase. Now, again, let's say if you want to make that one phrase maybe just two separate phrases on its own, you can do that as well. Right, that's one phrase, and then another one. Either or, whatever works best for you, that is fine. All right, so let's try we'll try doing just one phrase at a time. And what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to make them very, very small. So maybe the first two measures, that's what I will make as one phrase. Okay, all right. So this is measure 1 and 2, okay, of 88. So here we go. Ready and. Okay, so there's our first phrase, all right? Now I want you to try it with me together. So, and just remember, write your notes are D, E, F sharp, D. Okay, so just 0, 1, 2, 0. Those are your fingerings. Let me move this so that way you can see it. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 0. Okay, all right? So let's try that now, just with me. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Okay, so that's one phrase. Now let's do the next one. Well, actually, let's do two phrases, actually. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now notice that basically the first and the second phrases are identical and it's just a repeat. So if you can do it one time, then you can do it a second time, okay? If you're having trouble for whatever reason, maybe you get stuck on a note or something, try to think of it that way. Just try to think that it's the same pattern repeating twice. And you could do that for even the next two phrases as well, because it's F sharp G A, and that's one phrase right there, and then it repeats with the same pattern in the next two measures, F, G, A, right? Okay, so let's try those first three phrases, okay? Excuse me. Okay, so here we go. 1 and 2 and ready and. All right, so that is our three phrases, okay? Now we're gonna try adding in that fourth phrase as well. Okay, all right, so go ahead and pause the video now, and I want you to just work on just those four phrases, okay? So D, E, F, D, D, E, F, D, F, G, A, F, G, A. All right, so pause the video right here. If you want, go back and play it along with me if you need to. That's perfectly fine, okay? And see if you can follow along. Do it as many times as you need to, and once you get it, do it a couple of times over again, so that way you know that you absolutely have it for sure. All right? So go ahead and pause the video now. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so now we're going to take a look at that bottom line. Now you have a couple of eighth notes in here. A, B, A, G. That's what you have. And you have that same pattern repeated in a couple of measures after that, okay? Now, if the eighth notes are throwing you off, then here is what I recommend. Make every single eighth note a quarter note, just for now. And we're just going to do that for practice purposes, okay? So here we go. Just like that, okay? Let's try that again. Same thing, one more time. This time try to play it along with me. Here we go. Ready, and... Okay, so my notes right there are basically A, B, A, G, F sharp, D. So just remember, right, it's open A, right? Then you have B, you have open A again, then you have G, and then you have F sharp, and then finally open D. Okay, so just make sure that you're aware of what the finger patterns, what they are. I always recommend write down the notes. Have a pencil with you. It will help you out. It will always help you out, especially when you have a complicated rhythm or note even, just depending on whatever you might be having trouble with. It's always a good idea to have a pencil with you, okay? All right, so anyway, let's try the next four measures, the first four measures, on the bottom line, okay? And what I'm going to do differently is I'm going to make every single note a quarter note, even the eighth notes, all right? Just for practice purposes, okay? So here we go. Ready, and... Okay, all right? So try to do that by yourself. Go back and play the video again if you want to hear me do it again, and try to play along with it. If you need to slow it down, go ahead and do that. That's always a good idea. Slow practice is more important than what a lot of people realize, because especially with complex rhythms, it's not always easy to be able to get everything just right off the bat. It doesn't always happen, and that's perfectly fine. So what we want to do is develop a practice strategy where we can do that, to where we're able to follow along and to play a lot of those complex rhythms a little bit more comfortably. Okay? All right, so let's try that. So with me, here we go. Ready, and... Okay, now pause the video right here and try to do that with me. If you need to take it even slower, maybe even note by note at a time, then go ahead and do that. All right, so go ahead and pause the video now. Try to see if you can follow along with what I was playing just now. All right, and let's go on. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the eighth note rhythms back in there, but I'm only going to do the measure now that has the eighth notes. So just remember, you have A, B, A, G, okay? So just to show you, all right, so it's going to be, and then B, and then A, and then G, okay? So let's make sure that we got that. I'm going to put the eighth note rhythm back into it. So here we go. Ready, and... Okay, so let's try that again one more time. This time now you play it along with me. So here we go. Ready, and... There we go. One more time. Again, go. Okay, slow it down if you have to, all right? Eighth notes are tricky sometimes, so if we ever need to get those, then slow it down so that way you're able to pick up on it a little bit easier. And then from there, then we go in and we add in those, the actual tempo to it, okay? All right, so let's try that. Here we go. Ready, and. All right, now I'm gonna add in that F sharp and that D that comes right after, okay? So with me, ready, go. All right, let's try that again. One more time. Ready, go. All right, and now let's try to see if we can combine both of those two phrases now. Okay, so here we go. Ready, go. Let's do that again just one more time. Okay, so with me. And I'm going to try to take it even slower. So here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, go. And. Okay, now that we have that rhythm, I want you to pause the video again right here and try to play it by yourself. Again, if you need to take it note by note, go ahead and do that, okay? All right, so let's keep going. Now, finally, those last two measures, really easy stuff because all it is just D, open D, excuse me, open A, and then back to open D. So here we go. So that one should be pretty easy to get. If you're having trouble with that, again, I always recommend just go note by note, very, very slowly. Okay? Now, let's try to go back to the beginning and let's see if we can squeeze in those eighth note passages. Okay? So here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, go. All right, now go back and listen to that a few times, and then I want you to pause the video and then try to see if you can do it on your own, okay? So I'm going to play the entire thing one more time, and by now, we should be able to get through pretty much all of it, if not most of it. Again, though, if you're having trouble, go back to whatever part of the video that you need to and re-watch it and try to see if you can follow along with me. Okay? So here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, go. And I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. All you need to know now is just that there is a repeat. So remember, it's 2 times. All right? Alrighty. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I will see you all on the next lesson.